All right, live pictures right now of Beirut, where we are seeing Israeli attacks happen in real time. Understand the Israelis now have air superiority over Beirut and have threatened to shoot down any planes coming in from Iran to resupply Hezbollah. With us now, Brent Sadler, retired Navy captain, former Pentagon official. Good to see you. What do you make of the Israelis really thumbing their nose and embarrassing President Biden and the United States?
Well, I'm not sure that Netanyahu embarrasses the United States as much as the current administration has failed to put any type of meaningful pressure on Iran and its proxies to get to a real ceasefire that would be meaningful, one that could actually happen. And so we're at the situation we are now, almost a year into this current war that has expanded regionally for many months and has involved numerous players and put a lot of Americans at direct risk. And it's a failure of leadership as well as diplomacy of the current administration. So it's really on them. It certainly doesn't embarrass America. And I think it's the type of tough medicine that we need to hear coming out of Israel.
To a certain extent, though, any time that the American president is defied, the stature of America goes down around the world. And that is not necessarily a good thing. Now, you can argue that taking Hassan Nasrallah off the playing field is a very good thing. The Israelis are doing things the United States never would. What does it say that the Israelis are continuing, to amp up the pressure and tighten the thumb screws on Hezbollah and on Iran, and they haven't responded yet? This, the big fear from the Biden administration: escalation, 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 and yet the Israelis keep tightening the thumb screws, and Iran keeps running back to their bunkers.
Well, the first thing is I don't think it's by lack of effort on the part of the Iranians, certainly not Hezbollah or the Hamas or the Houthis. The Houthis just launched a hypersonic missile into Israel just the other day, last 24 hours. So it's not by lack of willingness or desire to hurt and kill Israelis. It's the Israelis have been able to preempt them, outsmart them, have adequate defenses, thankfully with U.S. help for many years, but most recently, the last few months, to ensure that they can thwart those attacks. So it's not by lack of effort. But again, a lot of this was preventable had there been better actions taken a year plus ago.
Well, you could also argue, I think, that the administration, and we've said this a lot since the very beginning, the administration trying to keep things from escalating and constraining the Israelis, as they continue to do, only made this last longer. We're seeing that when the Israelis go on the offensive, in a lot of ways, the Iranians back down. They have not, Hezbollah has not launched a full-scale war yet.
No, I think that's been characteristic of the way that this national security team in the White House operates. It's a misreading of the competitor, the adversary on their side. They did that with Putin and got a war in Ukraine, and then they turned that into a war of attrition, which benefits Russia and certainly not our interest. And they did it in the case in the war between Israel and Hamas by at every turn applying pressure and trying to withhold weapons to Israel and hoping that that would get to a ceasefire that would be meaningful or sustainable while not applying any pressure to Iran and the hopes that they could get some nuclear deal that they've been trying to have for several years now.
Yeah, we keep hearing from Donald Trump about this on the stump and about President Biden sort of losing control, literally, of the world that you've laid out. Brent, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it. It's good to see you as always. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.